Hi and welcome everyone. This is Friar Tuck. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about constitutional history. And I'm not going to do a lot of editing for this one just because of the situation I'm in. I'm still trying to get my resources under me. But as I promised, one of the first videos that I wanted to talk about is this Convention of the States. And I think that it's going to be a ruse. So let me kind of give you a little bit of history to kind of back up what I'm about to say. So way back when, so from 1776 to 1787 or 1789, depending, the seal of the United States is 1789, but the Constitution was originally ratified, conditionally ratified in 1787. It took 2 years to do the Bill of Rights, which is why it's 1789. So up until then, we were under what is called the Articles of Confederation. Do not confuse this with the Confederacy. That is a completely different form of government. What the Articles of Confederation did was it did not have a federal government at all. Basically, whatever government was there was more as an administrative force. It did not have the power to coin money. It did not have the power to legislate anything. The states had complete power, and they just came together as under a mutual defense pact. There really wasn't the government really didn't have a lot of teeth. It really left the what do you call it, it left the power of governance to the local municipalities, to the counties, to the states, because the states were solely responsible for governing their own people. Because each state, country, sovereign country, they're all interchangeable. It's just part of. You can go in the thesaurus, and they all mean about the same thing. Okay. So in 1787, the U.S. had defaulted on its debt because post-Revolutionary War, the colonies decided to go back to the colonials. So before the Revolutionary War, the states and the colonies, they operated under two forms of currency. They used gold and silver to pay taxes and to buy things internationally, but locally, internally within the colonies, they used something called script or colonials. And there was a limited number of it, and it's what allowed the colonies to thrive and to be able to do good. However, the Crown Bank of England caught wind of this, decided that it was too much competition for them because they were losing out on money, because they weren't able to collect taxes based upon the colonials because people were not using gold and silver. The other thing is that gold and silver was not abundant enough here in the colonies to be able to facilitate the amount of commerce that was going on. So when the Crown Bank of England, I forget what the name of the act was, but when they passed that, that's what led to the Boston Tea Party and also led to the Revolutionary War. Because even Benjamin Franklin said we would have borne one more tax, even a stamp tax, but if they would not have taken away our colonials, because it led to something like the Great Depression. There was mass starvation, mass dispossession, mass homelessness. I mean, people lost a lot because they couldn't afford to live because there was not enough gold and silver to be able to facilitate commerce. So after the Revolutionary War, they thought that, oh, well, let's just go back to the colonials because the colonials would actually work. But the thing is they didn't take into account that they were also using a secondary currency, which was gold and silver, to be able to facilitate like taxes and other things. And so in order for them to pay their debt, the states, because they couldn't collect taxes, the government couldn't fund itself, and people worked on a voluntary basis within the government. It was not a paid position. They were not able to pay the war debt to the Crown Bank of England and also to one of the French banks, okay, because there was a lot of different banks that actually loaned money to the colonies to pay for the war of independence. And so because those banks did not like the fact that they were not that their money was not secure, that they were not that the colonies were about to default, one of the things that had to happen was that they had to go and they had to fix the Articles of Confederation. But what ended up happening is instead of going to fix the Articles of Confederation, we had what is now known as the Constitutional Convention. You had a group of men, I think it was 55 men, that came together, delegates from all 13 original colonies that came together, and they instead of fixing the Articles of Confederation, which all they really needed to do is give the government the power to lay and collect taxes, and to do some of the things that they did in the Constitution, they just rewrote the whole thing. And what it did is it set the groundwork for a nationalized government. And this is something that if you read the Federalist Papers and the Anti-Federalist Papers, now the Anti-Federalists were Federalists and the Federalists were monarchists, but it was a wordplay, just like what we see in today's society. And so if you read the Anti-Federalist Papers, everything that Thomas Paine said would come to pass has come to pass. I mean, he saw the slippery slope that the government was on. But anyways, when it comes to this convention of the states, now they're going to go there to fix, to make some amendments to the Constitution. But what happens if you have the same thing that happened like with the Constitutional Convention? What happens if they come out with a completely new form of government? Now, our government has been trying to tell us that the war for independence was for democracy, so that we could have an American democracy, but we were never meant to be a democracy. What happens if they rewrite the Constitution and we get the democracy? I think that those that are in power are using this as a ruse, as a way to be able to rewrite the Constitution, so that we as a people are going to end up paying the ultimate price. The Constitution, whether you realize it or not, stands between us and the government. It is the one thing that really will make life more difficult for us, because the thing is with a democracy versus a republic, a democracy is mob rule. A democracy is there to cater to the majority, whereas a republic is there to protect the minority from the majority. And this is something that if we have a convention of the states and they decide to rewrite the Constitution in whole, we could definitely have a big problem coming about on this. So if you guys if you see the writing on the wall, this is my biggest concern, and this is why I look at the Convention of the States that they're talking about to be something that is going to be counterproductive to the American way of life, and is probably going to destroy everything that we have spent generations trying to preserve, or at least those of us that are intelligent enough and aware enough of what the Constitution really means, and why it is important to us as a governing document. So anyways, guys, thank you for being a subscriber, thank you for being a Patreon member, and I hope you look forward to more videos like this, and these are going to be once a week videos. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.